Your golf ball is the most technologically advanced, or it's not. Your golf ball is either the most consistent, or it's not. It's the most trusted, or it's not. The fact is, it's either Titleist, the best performing golf ball in the world, or it's not. Prove it for yourself. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. What will you play?
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to Playing from the Tips and the 89th episode of Tournament Previews, Tips, Sponsor Watch and all things important and unimportant from the world of golf presented by Golf Australia magazine. I'm Jimmy Emanuel and it's my pleasure to host alongside our so-called experts as we delve into action from the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia, DP World Tour, LPGA, PGA and Asian Tours this week. Our first so-called expert must feel like, in the terms of this show, Peter Lonard at the Australian PGA Senior Championship or Richard Green on the PGA Tour Champions. There every week, an integral part of things, but never quite top billing, it's Rod Murray.
Mate of mine, I think I told you his advice. Two back and two off the rail, that's where you want to live your life.
That's right.
You start winning, you attract all the attention. You just want to sit there two off. You never get any trouble there. Never going to win, but that'll be all right. That's where you want to be, Jimmy.
Next, this man thinks quite the opposite of himself. If he were to pick a player in that over 50s category, he thinks he's Bernhard Langer.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There every week, winning like nobody's business. But the truth is probably quite different. We welcome Adrian Logue.
Thank you, Jimmy, I guess.
Yep. You're also like Bernhard Langer, that at times parts of your short game have been impossible to watch.
I'd still like his longevity.
Oh, I think everyone would. Gents, this is the time of the show where we look back at the week that was and highlights and lowlights, and who's got one to kick us off?
I reckon you've already said it. It was the all seniors golf this week.
That's right.
Great results for Australians on the Champions Tour there. Terrific tournament out at Richmond, and Langer, at the age of 67, winning a golf tournament. Mm-hmm. The only thing I can think of that's maybe comparable was when Peter Senior won the Masters in 2015 at the age of 57 over a field of, flat bellies.
Yep.
But to be winning at 67 after, he snapped an Achilles tendon
earlier
this
year? Yeah.
Something's not right there. Test him. Swab him. That's not human.
It is remarkable. It takes months and months to recover from an Achilles tendon.
But
he walked as well.
At 67.
They're entitled to carts, I think. Or maybe he took a cart. I don't know.
There's different cart rules for all the senior tours, but I think Champions Tour he would be eligible, but he never does.
Yeah.
He's just it's
incredibly fit.
German determination.
Well, you ask Clates about him, and Clates says that Langer, when they were on tour, it was like a job to him. He turned up at 8 o'clock in the morning at the golf course on Tuesday, and he'd stayed there till 5 o'clock, and the next day he was back at the same, really regimented and did the same things every week, and must pay off because
decades and decades of professional golf.
How can you maintain interest for that long? Like the sort of interest required to win at that level?
Yeah.
Oof, wow.
That's almost 50 years of professional golf he's played.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And no stone left unturned. Like Nick O'Hearn tells a story about they both used long putters when Nick started playing in Europe. So Bernhard just went over and started picking his brain about what he does and everything like that. He goes, it's not like a lesson. He just wanted to feel out how I did it because he'd seen me and everything like that. I reckon he's done that to every single player he's ever played with. So
testament to a remarkable mindset. Honestly.
Absolutely. Paul Waring, also a bit of a highlight.
Yeah,
I think everyone likes
really
Paul
nice.
Waring. That's a nice story. Andy Sullivan hanging by the side of the green and getting emotional for his mate. That's nice stuff.
Is it the grey beard that Waring's so intrigued? He looks older than he is or something. And it was, how many tournaments had he had before he had one? It was in the hundreds. One of those stories. Good luck to him. Well done.
Makes him very hard to pick. I'm not happy about that.
I'm sure. Speaking of picks, last week we had no wins, but successful week filling our top 10 column. And before we get to the final numbers in Logues, I thought about tipping them.
What's going on in there?
I tipped Cameron Young in the PGA Tour.
Who withdrew an hour later.
An hour after we finished the show. But Carson Young finished in the top 10, do I get credit for Low Young? Because if someone followed my advice and they went to try and
See Young.
bet on
What's
a
money on
Young,
See
Young, they would have got a good result.
Yeah. Did you think it? Did you think Carson, though? When you went, did you
Only
honestly
you
think?
know.
Yeah,
Only
of course
you know.
I did.
Okay. Well, if I take your word for it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the commissioner. So
If that's what you're saying.
So that takes us to 8 top 10s last week, which gives us 161 this year, I should say, close to the magical 200 mark, alongside 29 wins. All of this, which makes us the most successful tipping podcast recorded in the Sydney area, with a member who has won the monthly medal in the last fortnight.
Yeah, great call.
Yeah.
That's the clincher.
That is,
You can recreate the other stuff, but you can't buy that.
you can't buy that. No, that's right.
It's a game of skill when you've got to include that one.
Got to earn it.
The rest of it you could just do. Like they don't
You can
give,
pay
they don't
someone
give
to-
away monthly medals.
That's
They
exactly
don't. Well, I think they do. I think that's the idea. They give one away a month.
Specifically B grade monthly medals as well.
very competitive, B grade.
The lofty heights. On to this week, and whenever we do, we start at home, so why not let's kick off with the Ford. That's a new title sponsor. Ford New South Wales Open, highlight of the local calendar this week, new venue, new title sponsor, increased prize money. I'll tell you, Ford, they make cars. That's
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Since
it's that
when?
forward.
Yeah, that Ford. Yeah. Blue badge Ford, you know?
Yeah.
It moves to Murray Downs Golf and Country Club, I should say, down on the mighty Murray River. Second event of the Cam Smith Show in Australia that rolls on for another 2 weeks after this. You've also got Lucas Herbert starting his little home run. Those players will be the stars, but the golf course should get plenty of attention because Murray Downs, designed by Jeff and Ted Parslow, I would argue is the best course on the Murray amongst a very good group.
One of the few I haven't been to, but I hear that from
It's the
everybody
furthest
I've
one along from Albury all the way. It's sort of down near the South Australian border. So it doesn't probably get as much traffic as the others through the middle out of the Melbourne people and Sydney people, but it is well worth the trip, and I think the hope would be that this week will make more people take it. It's old farming land turned into a big scale golf course, big dramatic bunkering, red sand in them, wide fairways, big undulating greens and plenty of water as well, but you'd expect a field this good to go pretty low around there. Always really pure greens. Par 3s are a highlight, including, I think it's the 5th, is the long one across the water that can be 200 odd metres, and with the wind whipping off the left as it often does.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, not fun.
What slicer doesn't love a 200-metre par
Exactly.
three with a left to right breeze?
What drawer doesn't like when we got to start it out over the water to get anywhere close?
Yeah.
In terms of field, joining Cam and Lucas, US Open champion Jeff Ogilvy, all 4 winners from this season, Will Bruyères, Elvis Smiley, Jack Buchanan and Phoenix Campbell. Likes of Anthony Quayle, Harrison Crowe, Dimmy Papadatos, Curtis Luck. List goes on as everyone gets ready for the BMW Australian PGA and ISPS Honda Australian Open in the next 2 weeks. So, who wins? Rod, you can start us off.
Well, I won't go with Cam again, even though, again, he's the obvious one. He's got that pressure of should win. I really, really, really hope and like the chances of Jack Carter, who has just been thereabouts. Oh, yeah, surely it has to happen for him soon. I think the course will probably suit him. He's such a good iron player. All courses will suit him, but that feels to me like... And I'm really enjoying watching these young guys come up and who's going to make it in the end and who's not. It's not always the ones you look like. This is great watching this unfold. So
good.
Jack Carter, I didn't know his name at the start of the season. I'm now tipping him legitimately. I think he'll have a chance this week.
Yep. And I'm not there to not shake his hand because he's now blamed me twice because he said after the playoff at Nudgee, it's because I didn't shake his hand on TV again, even though I didn't talk to him on TV. So I'm the problem. I'm willing to admit it, and I'm not there.
First step to recovery.
I'm staying in the Jack zone, but adding a C to give us Jack Buchanan. I think he's going to get his 3rd win of the season.
Wow.
They've really stood up these young
Again,
guys.
I really like these young blokes as well. Like it. And again, I didn't know Jack Buchanan before this.
No, never heard of him. Phoenix Campbell I had heard of,
Yeah.
not seen him play. But yeah, and it's just been fabulous I've really enjoyed it. I think the PGA is really doing something good here. I do.
I think Cam will go closer in terms of he was a fair way off the mark at the PGA despite being in the last couple of groups and everything like that. But I don't know that I'm going to tip him because why tip the person everyone expects you to, but I'm thinking about it. You see, Logue. That's it's in my head. You know.
Do we all get a thinking tip?
No.
Put down a marker.
I'll put down a marker. Yeah. But I am going to tip one of the other winners from the year. I'm going to tip Elvis Smiley, who golf course suits him down to the ground. He's got a good caddy this week, whose name I can't exactly remember at the moment, but he's going to have a really good couple of weeks, and I think it sort of kicks off down here.
Feels like 25 is a big year. I know I've said it before, but feels like the start of Elvis's career this year.
Correct.
That WA Open win.
Correct. And he's setting himself 4 big ones as well. Yeah. On we go. DP World Tour finishes its season in the annual landing spot of Dubai, aptly named DP World Tour Championship. Rod, you're our Middle East correspondent for the week.
Oh, thank you very much. Middle East correspondent.
Yeah.
I feel like I've really been elevated there
that's
as
good,
opposed to someone who looked at some stuff on the internet.
Yeah,
but being a correspondent, which is actually what being a correspondent's about, Jimmy. Don't tell the public. Big finale this week, obviously, in Dubai. This is the tournament that will have most of the attention because it's got Rory. You get Rory, you get the attention. That's how golf works. Fair enough, too. Sponsor Watch, DP World are a logistics company. If you've got moral issues about Live in Saudi Arabia, you're probably going to have some moral issues about some of the European Tour venues and sponsors as well. This is predominantly the same field as last week. That's how these playoffs work. The fields reduce. Add in Billy Horschel this week, though. He's joined the field. Controversially, John Rahm hasn't. Not playing the final event of the season. I don't think it's some sort of a snub. His wife had a difficult pregnancy and birth recently. He played 4 tournaments on the trot around that to get I just think he's got nothing left in the tank, and fair enough. But it will be obviously spoken about because that's the world that we live in. Jumeirah Estates, Golf Estates where it's played, the Earth Course, Greg Norman design. This staggered me. I'm going to read this from the website. Few people experienced Greg Norman's Earth Course, even though the layout was fully grassed in April 2008. In January 2009, a handful of pros, including Sergio Garcia, Justin Rose and Darren Clark, were invited to play the last 4 holes of the Earth Course, described by Norman as the most challenging mile in golf. Since then, the Earth Course was closed for play, waiting for its curtain call, the inaugural Dubai World Championship in November 2009, so that the first shot hit off the first tee in competition was a professional. You wonder why people think golf is this expensive, bloated, wealthy man's plaything. What a message. They built an entire golf course, didn't let anybody play it until the tournament started.
What on earth are they thinking?
What on earth are they thinking?
Good one.
Yeah.
Can we just maybe touch on the word invited in those 4 players going to play the last 4 holes? Do you think they were invited, or do you think they were?
Oh, you're suggesting them a commercial arrangement?
I don't know the details. I'm sure it was commercial.
Don't get him started on invitationals. You'll get on
that's right.
I'd like to see their actual invites.
Well, you've been
posted
calling
to
for
social
that for
media
a long time. Just in the interest of transparency.
Exactly.
If there's nothing
Freedom of information.
Makes a mockery of the concept of the invite.
I even wrote on my page here. Anyway, written on my page here. The course itself is actually a good test, not completely unlike last week. There's room off the tee, big punishing fairway bunkers. If you play at a Norman golf course, there is an aesthetic about them. This has got the aesthetic. You can sort of tell who his influences are, sort of the Sandbelt, particularly Royal Melbourne and Augusta National. You can sort of see a lot in there. The test here really is the greens, and I think this is the Augusta National influence from Norman. They've got little wings and pockets all over these greens. They're sort of sectioned off. You need to be a really good iron player to hit it into constantly these smalls. The green might be quite big, but the spot you need to hit is quite small. That's a real Augusta National thing, and I think that's what we'll see this week is the best iron players. There are lots of good scoring opportunities. The scoring does tend to be good. Stenson in 2013 at 25 under the best, 15 under from Matt Fitzpatrick, the worst quote-unquote winning score. There's some obvious but still interesting strategy in the play. Bunkers in the rough, which is a bit of a shame. That's the course field. 2 Australians in the field, Minwoo Lee, Adam. This is only Adam's second time playing this tournament, which I was really surprised about. Second time only, which, anyway. He's back there this week. I think he finished tied 7th his first time around, so
Okay.
Probably likes the course. Minwoo, he's played. This is his 4th. Tied 15, tied 12, tied 16. So he knows what he's doing at this golf course. Tied 23rd last week. That's a player who could do well this week. So I'll be look out for me, and he'll be particularly keen to warm up before the PGA defence. The following week, they'll be mentioned in dispatches, those two this week, but it's Rory that everybody will be watching. Lots of people will be on him. Having watched him last week, you'd have to think he's a good chance. But I am going to stick with Tommy Fleetwood, who I picked last week, who started blazing hot, couldn't quite maintain it till the end, but still a good finish. And I like his chances this week.
Nice. Logue?
Okay. I'm going to stay in the Tom zone as well and go with Tom McKibben, who I've backed a few times this year and he hasn't really come through for me. So he could get Fergusoned. If
is he on? Is there a list? Is there a watch list, or is it a think list? Have you got a think list of Fergusons?
This is the week. If he doesn't perform this week, he's out. But that Tom McKibben,
So
I like the
to
cut of his jib.
I do too,
and he's got a very good golf swing, like that Ferguson as well. Yes. Like they're both damn good swingers.
Yeah.
My think about it pick was Tyrrell Corporation. By the way, I thought about Tyrrell Corporation. Right. I just want everyone to know.
I assume pretty much every time he's in the field, you think about the Tyrrell Corporation. So, okay. Interestingly, Tom McKibben's changed caddies because I would previously, if you were going to think about Fergusoning him, I wouldn't like your chances because Grizzly veteran Dave McNeely was caddying for Tom McKibben and I'd back him to find you and sort you out. But he's actually switched caddies recently.
That changes everything.
If you do your research, you can find these things out.
It's a whole new start for
So
Tom.
Dave McNeely's got the week off. He could be anywhere in the world looking for anybody.
100%. He could, I dare say he'd be on another bag. I'm going to go with Rory because I said a couple of weeks ago he's going to win one of the next couple of weeks, not last week, this week. So Rory for me.
Titleist is the number one ball in golf. Yes, being number one is a number, and more players trust the Pro V1 or Pro V1X than all other golf balls combined. But being number one is more than a number. It's a mindset. It's a relentless mission to design and manufacture the best performing golf balls in the game, so you can chase whatever your number one is. Titleist, the number one ball in golf.
Moving along, and we go stateside for the only mainland US event getting our attention this week at the officially named The Annika, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican. And the Adrian Logue at Sydney Podcast Studios is going to preview the event.
I'm not a Florida correspondent.
No, you are not.
This isn't being reported from the Florida Bureau.
You're a pool reporter. You're coming from the general pool. You've been sent to cover the Annika. Get on with it.
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
Ouch. Well, I'm sure you're curious about why the Annika is driven by Gainbridge at Pelican. Anyway, Gainbridge are a digital investment platform. Does that help?
Sure.
Is that crypto?
They are notably active in sports sponsorships, particularly known for being sponsor of the Indianapolis 500.
Indy 500, get around it.
So therein comes the driven by concept.
Play on words.
So Annika, driven by Gainbridge. At Pelican, just to complete the picture here, Pelican is the golf course that it's being played at. Pelican Golf Club was originally designed by Donald Ross in the 1920s when it was named Pelican Golf Club, but then later renamed to Bellevue Biltmore Golf Club, which doesn't really roll.
Doesn't roll off the tongue, no. Not a good swap.
And the BB, you'd think it's got good alliteration, but it doesn't work at all. The new owners of that place in 2017 saw the folly of that name and changed it back to Pelican Golf Club.
Courageous.
And at the same time did a renovation with Bo Welling, who's a bit of a Donald Ross expert.
Yep.
And it reopened again in 2019, has since been multiple tournament venue. And was actually hit quite hard by the hurricane that came through Florida a little while ago. It was half underwater.
Was it? Yeah.
So it's quite impressive that it's back and ready for play, especially considering it's at sea level or -1 Sahali.
Shout out to the entire golf course turf industry. The things they do on a weekly basis are ridiculous. We saw it at the WA Open a couple of weeks. It's amazing what they can do to get a golf course ready for a professional tournament play after that kind of thing is extraordinary.
Indeed. The big news this week is the Pro-Am on Wednesday. I don't know why it's getting coverage on the Golf Channel. And the reason why is all about WNBA sensation Caitlin Clark, who's playing alongside Annika and Nelly Korda.
No pressure.
That is some group. Wow.
But yeah, Caitlin Clark, if you don't know, she's incredible basketball sensation, has almost single-handedly
Even
raised the
I-
prominence of WNBA, which has had an enormous amount of money put into it and is actually starting to gain some traction.
Tiger Woods type.
Real sort of
The
Tiger Woods
personality
effect.
And absolutely loves golf.
She
Can
loves
swing a
golf.
golf club.
Oh,
Yeah,
I saw the
yeah,
shot.
it's pretty good.
Did you know we have a hole in one on? Just saw the
Yeah.
video a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Compliments of Gainbridge as well as a couple of IndyCar races in there, which I'm sure you'd be fascinated by, Rod. Colton Herter and Marcus Ericsson.
Ericsson, I'm surprised, but I wouldn't have thought golf would be his speed.
No, there you
Doesn't
go.
seem the type.
There you go.
Was Colton Herter ever going to be anything but a race car driver with a name like
pretty good
that?
name.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
How'd you know she said that? Colton Herter. Sorry. Apologies.
There's plenty of notable. Onto the tournament itself, there's plenty of notable players in the field. Nelly, as I mentioned before, defending champion Lilia Vu, Ronnie Yin, Lydia Ko, Celine Boutier, Rose Zhang's playing, Charlie Hull. The Australians are Hannah Green, Minji, Gabby, Hyra, Steph, and Robin Choi.
Ooh, Robin Choi needs to lift a game. She's got both names there. When she becomes just Robin.
She's not just a Robin, yeah. So look, it's a very good field. There's actually 6 of the world, well, the first 6 of the world top rankings. What do you call it now? The Rolex rankings. And
Most of us call it the Rolex Women's World Golf Rankings, but you obviously call it something else.
and among those is Lydia Ko, and that's going to be my pick. I think why not? She just throw another win on the pile, Lydia.
This is, of course, the last full field event before their Tour Championship next week, where I believe it's the top 60 go through.
That would be my understanding, but
That's
we could
correct.
both be wrong.
Yeah.
Which Steph Kiriakou currently is in 60th. Minji Lee currently in 56th.
That's the surprising one, isn't it?
It's just slipping back there.
And so it would take some kind of hugely unusual situation for Minji to miss. She's 30-odd points in front of 60th place. So
It's one of those mathematically possible, but unlikely in reality.
Correct, but important week for all of them.
It's a bit of a wake-up call for a player of Minji Lee's standing.
Yeah.
Nelly Corder's never thinking about finishing in the top 60. That just never crosses her mind.
Yeah.
And that's
Minji Lee's ranked 17th now in the world as well.
Yeah, it's not
starting to slip.
not been a good year, but I'm sure she'll finish strong. Rod, a pick from you?
I like Ronnie Yin because I think she's just having this ripping finish to the year. And whilst I would always pick Lydia Ko, given that Lowe already took her, I think I like Ronnie. I fell in love with her golf swing all over again when she had those 2 wins a couple of weeks ago.
So good.
It's really good.
When you see a lot of it, it's just like, wow, that is hypnotic. It is
There's a lot of
such a good
centrifugal force to it. Like it's
Just about- and I tell you, that was,
rotational forces.
I watched a bit of the LPGA. Who was the young girl from Russia? Maybe Guseva. I'd never heard of her before.
Oh, yeah.
And she was up there contending. I turned it on like third day. The first shot I saw, I don't know whether they had the microphone placed, but she ripped this driver down the phone. The sound was off the charts. My other half snapped around and said, "Who was that?"
Yeah.
She was a remarkable player to watch. I've forgotten her name already, but I won't forget.
Natalia Guseva.
Natalia Guseva, yeah.
And I think
Really
she is
good.
Russian because she doesn't get the flag on the leaderboard. So I think
okay.
that's the bit of a world sport thing.
Yeah.
Current climate. It's like an unattached kind of thing.
Well,
they do it in tennis.
She whacks it good.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to watching her career unfold from here. Really impressive.
Good
Gives it a
golfing.
good Guseva.
Good hitter.
Good hitter,
hitter.
and a little bit like Maya Stark, all this talent and everything. Kind of no idea how to play golf yet.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch, you know. She rips it 4 in a row and then she hits one 40 yards left and, yeah, good stuff. Exciting to watch.
I'm going to go with Hannah Green because she's just having the year of her life and she's so geared up to try and win the Australian Open, I think, but she's going to just do something silly to end the year, I think.
She's full of winning malice, isn't she? She's just full of it. You know, it was just a win.
Yeah. Let's keep going in a busy week for golf. The PGA Tour, the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, played each year at Port Royal Golf Club. This is the one where the flags nearly lay down sideways in the wind each year, at least one day of the week. On the side of the ocean, Aaron Baddeley, yet again the lone Australian. Camilo Villegas is the defending champion after he won and thanked Adam Scott for some putter inspiration that helped him win and get his game back. He's back to defend among a field you would expect this time of year. Francesco Molinari is one of the standouts alongside Rio Hitsatsune, Nico Ekavira, Daniel Berger. So it's either veterans trying to get their status improved for next year. Young guys chasing a career, sort of changing wind. Lucas Herbert won here a few years ago, and it elevates you to that next level. Robert Trent Jones designed golf course that is actually a public golf course, so anyone can go and play and put them through the pain of the wind if it's up that day. Hosted the Grand Slam of golf back in the days when that was a thing. I think when Lucas
small
Glover won.
greens as well.
Yeah,
doesn't
they're
it?
decent and they
perched.
undulate, but there's like the 3 tiers on almost all of them. So if you're on the wrong level, it's not nice. Par 3 16th is the highlight. It's 200 yards or 230 yards over the water's edge, and that's where the vision will come of the flag absolutely getting hammered by the wind. So bit of excitement in the golf course more than anything else this week. Tips from everyone. I'm going to start with Pearson Coody.
Yeah, nice, cool. Yeah, I thought about him.
I'm sure you did. Yep. And who are you actually going to tip?
I'm dipping into the Griffin zone this week. Not Lanto.
Oh,
Ben, surely.
Not Matty Griffin, who's obviously not playing, but Ben Griffin.
yeah.
Yep. Nice tip.
Good call. Maverick McNeely for me.
Nice.
Mav.
One of the great names as well.
It is. Maverick.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep. Very good. Finally, the Asian Tour plays its Taiwan Glass Taifong Open. And if anyone knows all things glass and all things Taiwan, it's our Taiwan correspondent, Rod Murray.
Oh,
Well, funny you should
he's
say that,
dashed
because-
across from
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Dubai.
Dubai.
It's a changing media landscape.
Yeah,
You've got to
that's right.
wear multiple hats.
You got to be where the news is happening. Well, I also know very little about this and had trouble finding out much, as you can imagine. Golf in Taiwan is not regularly sort of reported on. I couldn't find almost anything about the course. It's the Taifong Golf Club, I think it's called. So do your best. I saw a little bit of video from last year's highlights. This was a Asian Development Tour event for the last 7 years. Got elevated to an Asian Tour event last year. So this is only second year as an Asian Tour event. But it does mean I think they've played 3 or 4 times in Taiwan now, Jimmy. The Asian Tour this year.
It's
Actually quite a hot spot for professional golf without anybody.
Really remarkable.
Yeah, 3 or 4 events in Taiwan. So, pardon me. So the sponsor watch, Taiwan Glass, was a glass maker in Taiwan, but they are one of the world's biggest manufacturers of glass. They make float glass, which is like a coffee.
Oh,
You ever tripped over drunkenly at a party and nearly cut your carotid artery on smashing into a coffee table? That's float glass.
Oh, that must be tempered.
It's made on molten metal. So there's a pool of molten metal. They pour molten glass on top, and the interaction between those two gives you a flat sheet of strong glass.
I told you he was
not
our glass
expecting
man.
to go. I'm glad I asked a follow up.
I wasn't expecting to know that this morning either, but it just came up
Do you
during,
know what I'd call that?
So.
I'd call that a fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
Fun
Good
fact.
call. Fun fact. Well done. Here's a question for you. It was designed by Japanese architect Hiroshi Watanabe. I couldn't remember. Is he the top dog?
Yeah, he's the man.
Is Hiroshi Watanabe Kasumi Gaseki top dog man?
Oh, it could be. Yeah, sorry.
I can't remember the
should
name of the
recall, but-
designer, but
I'm sure it is.
Could be.
Watanabe designed a lot of golf
He
courses
did.
around the
He
area.
did see
Yeah,
his
he
name.
was prolific.
indeed.
The Donald Ross of Asia.
Can I just jump in, having looked up this golf course myself, and the second review on Google is, their clubhouse is gorgeous and a piece of artwork too, followed by food and spaces are good, but the attitude of the front desk staffs are very bad.
Oh.
So hopefully that's been rectified this week before the players get
Before
there.
the play.
I don't know. They could do with a bit of harsh
That's right.
treatment.
They've had it too good for too long, these
Pampered.
Asian Tour players.
Pampered players.
The clubhouse is actually, I think, an award winner. It's
It
a
is,
famous Portuguese architect, I think, who designed it. It gets a lot of mentions in anything about the
All
golf
these
course.
facts Rod had up his sleeve that just need a bit of prompting to come out
From
of
the
it.
club website, the 18-hole track was carved out of the natural topography by the renowned Japanese course designer Hiroshi Watanabe. Each hole is full of personality with a variety of challenges, and the Tiff Eagle turf further increases the speed on the greens. There was something in here. Where was it? There was something fantastic.
Tiff Eagle, of course,
The
the
sponsor
number
of this
one.
podcast.
Yeah.
No, Tiff Eagle, it's like become the number one grass in grainy areas. A lot of Tiff Eagle in Queensland, a lot of Tiff
Yeah.
Eagle in Asia now.
It's better than a lot of the other.
It's a lot truer rolling than a lot of grainy grasses in those hot places.
If you played on the Gold Coast on the 80s or that really chunky Bermuda grass, really hard to chip on, awful to putt on, just everything, nothing to recommend it. Anyway, the difficulty with this week, Jimmy, is that we don't know so many of the players. A lot of local players in the field, most of them we haven't heard of. I suppose for them, it'd be unlikely that one of the Chinese Type A players would. But this will be an important week for them to measure their games against the rest of the pros, which they wouldn't get that many opportunities to do. So that'll be good. Lots of Australians in the field. As you said about the PGA Tour, Jimmy, this is the time of year. Top 60 keep their cards on the Asian Tour. You have a look at that money list, you'll see a lot of the names of people around that 60 in the field this week. You're either trying to play your way in from outside or stay inside and not fall out. Because there's so many local players and so many unknown players, I've got no idea who to tip, so I'm just going to go with the Australian kiddie Justin Warren because I like him and I think he's a better player than his record suggests yet. And even though he hasn't been playing particularly well this year and he's outside the top 60, why not go Justin?
And he needs a good finish. He's 72nd in the order of merit.
Poor places is a lot.
Started the year talking really positively. I've known Justin for a long, long time and immensely talented, but has sort of seemed to turn a switch at the start of this year, but then just hasn't had his best stuff consistently.
He's had some bad luck and things that have just been really unfortunate. He had that lip out of PGA Tour.
He missed it was barely a couple of feet to Monday qualify for an event. He lipped it out and then went back and qualified the next year. He had a horror run to finish the Cathedral Invitational last year where he realistically should have been right there with Adam Scott and walked away from that and said to me, I don't know how long I can keep doing this to myself. And then a month later was in a great headspace. He's too talented not to have a success.
Yeah, you watch him play, it's like, wow, this guy's got he's world class.
So far.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Really good. So, go Justin.
Logue?
Well, I've looked deep into my Taiwan glass ball and for reasons very similar to Rod that I didn't know really any of the local players, but also because I think this young bloke is a hell of a golfer. As Aaron Wilkin is my pick.
That was
it's a game within a game, is it? Whose pick who would Jimmy likely pick this week? I'll make sure I take them.
So anyway,
I was very excited to tip Aaron Wilkin.
You've probably got some facts about him.
Yeah, I do.
From Logue, so you could flesh out Logue's tip before
Over
giving
to
us
you,
your
Jimmy.
new one.
Another genuinely talented guy who has taken a while to realise what it takes to be a good professional is a really good ball striker, just a really good player, and he's gone and found, having played here in Australia for a long time and had some good results but nothing amazing, has found golf that suits him in Asia. Played the development tour over there, did really well, has got an Asian Tour card and is now in the middle of the sort of rankings of the top 60 that'll keep his card. All the reasons I was going to tip him, but I don't dare tip him when you're tipping him, Logue. So I will default to who else but Barry Henson.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say that you weren't looking through the field. You think, well, is this an Asian Tour event? Then you see Barry Henson's name, and that's what makes it official.
I think
it
we
can
all
only
thought about
be
Barry
an Asian
Henson.
Tour.
Everyone thinks about Barry
Everyone
Henson.
thinks about Barry Henson.
I don't go many days without Barry Henson.
Without a good Barry Henson thought.
Yeah. That will do us just about for episode 89. Rod, before we leave, I'd like you to please tell our listeners what on earth you're planning to do with the saw sitting by the entrance to Sydney Podcast Studio.
Well, Jimmy, if I told you that, I would need to use it on you. So I'll spare you that. There is some wood cutting in my near future.
Oh, okay. Logue, have you ever cut any wood?
By hand?
Yes, I did.
You grew up in the country, I suppose.
Well, yeah, no, I've
Wasn't
cut
your father
wood.
a dentist? Did you ever take him?
Unless is that a euphemism for something?
And what? When you were a kid?
Oh no,
Go to work?
No, never did that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Have you got any
Make
other?
the patients uncomfortable.
Just
Oh, well, they know
bring
you're
your
not
kid to
about.
work day. Yeah, I didn't go and write any contracts for my old man when I was a kid. Any other fun facts before we go?
No, I'm all out of fun facts. Well, fun fact, I'm probably going to go have a coffee after this.
Okay, that's not in the realm of that sort of description, but anyway.
It's a fact.
It is a fact. You can follow along with all these events and so much more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and get out and pick up a copy of the December issue of Golf Australia magazine on sale this week, I believe. Minwoo Lee and Hannah Green on the cover, previewing the Australian Open. Meanwhile, inside there's a catch-up with Craig Parry, everyone's favourite Australian golfer from the 90s, I think. Sit down with Gavin Kirkman, the CEO of the PGA of Australia, talking all things Australian golf, plus plenty more. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week on Playing from the Tips.